You know what time it is?
Warhorse time.
It is Warhorse time. It's time to bet on it. Brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook. DB, you know what random stat I was looking at earlier?
A lot.
I was looking at
Kind
one.
of a random stat guy.
You're never going to guess this one.
Your random stat was.
I would bet. Anything that you will not get this.
I know what it was.
What's that?
It was all games in which Walker Buehler and Severino went head to head, one another, tied 1-1, and NLDS.
You got the sport right.
An NLCS, I'm sorry.
And the league right. This is a National League baseball stat.
Dang, it's not that specific. What were my odds of being wrong?
It's pretty specific, but
I thought that was a great one.
It was a good guess, but it's even more random.
Wow. What was it?
I was looking up Ozzie Smith stats.
Why?
I don't know.
I used to want to be Ozzie Smith. I had a neighbor that was Ozzie Smith.
Yeah?
Except he was white. Brian Vecchio.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Little guy, slick fielder. He could do anything with a glove.
If you had to guess what Ozzie Smith's career slugging percentage was, what would you say?
390.
You're too high.
That's incredible. A real life punching Judy?
Let me check here.
Why, Ravi?
He did not crack 390 slugging percentage his entire career.
Why?
Not a single time.
Why?
In his entire career. Why was I looking this up?
Yeah.
He
didn't really start hitting the baseball until later in his career.
He never really hit the baseball that much. Now his average got better.
Yeah.
But never hit
Used to be my guy.
Never hit for any power.
Used to be my guy.
His highest slugging percentage in his career was, he did crack it once, 392. Or no, that was on base. 383 was his best slugging percentage ever. 383.
In 1983.
87. In his runner-up MVP campaign.
Yeah.
He
actually got to a point where I didn't think he was an automatic out all the time.
He was a 328 career slugging percentage.
Back then, nobody cared if your shortstops could hit.
I know.
I mean, I watched Gary Templeton pick it and couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Which, by the way, coincidentally, they were traded for one another.
His OPS was 666 for his career.
Oh, that's an ugly number.
Both for a couple reasons.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was looking. Oh, you know what it was? I saw a TikTok video of his defensive highlights.
Yes.
And I was trying to remember just how bad of a hitter he was.
So for analytics people, you think Ozzie Smith's defensive prowess would hold up?
I'm curious what his defensive WAR is. I don't have that right in front of me. Let me see if I can look. Because that's going to be your equalizer, right? Because he's obviously not providing much offensively. Let's see if we've got some advanced fielding stats in here. Come on, Baseball Reference, don't let me down.
Yes.
We do not have advanced fielding here.
That's
I might have to go to Fangraphs or something.
Oh, that's fine.
But yeah, I 328 career slugging percentage.
It's not very good.
It's really, really bad.
You'd have a hard time. I mean, that's no Lindor.
You'd have a hard time.
That would get you 0 burn in Baltimore.
Yeah, you'd have a hard time.
Because I grew up in the era, you were either a Ripken guy or you were an Ozzie guy.
Yeah.
Later on, it was Nomar, but he didn't play long enough.
No, we did love Nomar, though.
And then on the tail end of that was Toot Toot Hey Jeet Jeets.
I was a big Nomar guy.
Until A-Rod, he forced A-Rod to move.
Garcia Parra, the batting gloves.
Yeah.
Do the whole thing.
I remember that.
People thought he was going to hit 400 one year.
Yeah, I was a big Mia Hamm fan. To heck with Nomar.
North Carolina.
And Mia Hamm.
Well, she went to North Carolina.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing.
Wasn't why I liked her.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just keeping it in the Tar Heel family.
No.
Big soccer guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially then.
Yeah. Back in the day?
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Very competitive. All those great soccer players that played for the U.S. national team I had probably seen.
Yeah, late 90s?
Play in college.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yes. Nebraska was very, very good at soccer.
I recall.
Yeah.
A little bit. Not as much as you.
I mean, you're still wearing Pampers.
No, not in the late 90s.
I mean, pretty much.
I was wearing like...
Were you a Huggies guy? Loves?
I was not wearing diapers in the late 90s.
No, you're exactly right.
I know that.
I was in my preteen years in the late 90s.
Uh-oh.
I was in middle school.
You know what happens with pre?
Teen?
Yeah. I'm sorry, what?
Preview?
Yes.
You're going to preview Nebraska and Indiana later with our friend Avery.
Miss Howard?
Yeah. Getting after it a little bit. Get after the preview.
Yeah.
After a week off, you feel good?
There's a lot of so this week for Nebraska, it's a lot of do I believe the data? You know,
or taking data in context.
Yeah,
that's why I asked Brian that question. Right?
No, it was really I was actually paying attention
because the data can be real, but the context can mean it's not going to continue. Right?
Are they who? I just listened to Coach Rule rattle them off. Shane, did you play that? Did you have that bite queued up for me?
Which one?
Coach Rule. The one that we just literally talked about 6 minutes ago.
Yeah, I have it queued up.
Okay, why couldn't you just answer the goddamn question?
Because I didn't have it queued up at the time.
You were buying yourself time?
I was buying some time. That's what I do.
Go ahead.
You finally get that.
Go ahead and play that thing anytime now, Shane.
Hey, so play this clip. Play that clip, Shane.
Like, you know, that's him. Like, he's here first thing in the morning.
Fall asleep in your office?
Yeah, I went home and then couldn't sleep, so came back early. And, you know, the Garrett McGuires, the Corey, they come in at 4:30 and work out. I come in at 4:30 and watch film and just fell asleep. That's all.
Coach Rule said you woke him up in his office last week by knocking on the door. What time do you have to get to the facility to do that?
Oh, he slept here, so he probably slept in a little more than he wanted to, but somewhere around I don't even remember. I walk in here and just walk in. You know, I don't look at the clocks. I almost hit his head because he slept by the door, and I knocked, and I opened the door, and I like hit something, and he was on the ground. So I was like, oh, I just knocked his head.
Does that give you a glimpse into the magnitude of this game, or how they are just approach getting better?
Yeah, I took it more about how they approach things. I didn't really think this was an Indiana-specific thing. I just took that as like, yep, I think Dylan and Coach Rule are wired about the same way.
So I pit that against like preparation and emotion.
Yeah.
Versus the numbers.
Well,
it's difficult this week for me.
You know what people say about preparation, right? Is it helps for a lot of people, it helps take the emotion out of the situation, right? The more prepared you are, the less emotionally volatile a lot of people will be in those situations.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
I mean, it doesn't always work for me.
Sure.
I felt like we were extremely prepared last week, and I was still very emotional.
Sure. Different kind of emotion, though, right?
You're
going to have a different emotion if you're unprepared versus prepared.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
More positive emotions when you're prepared.
Correct.
You feel ready.
Correct.
You feel ready to get after it. Doesn't mean it takes emotion, but I think it takes negative emotion out of the equation.
Like I look at Indiana's defense, and at no point do I think that defense is better than Nebraska. Statistically, they are, though.
Maybe I'm being a jerk. Their defense doesn't scare me.
No, that's not like it is. I'm not even taking it to that extreme. Like how it makes me feel. I'm just saying. So when I look at data, which I, as you know, often do.
Yep.
I always have to pit it against what I see. So when I'm trying to cap this game, which is where the original conversation started for the Warhorse segment, I don't see 6.5.
Yeah. I don't either.
I don't. But
I don't either.
But do you know why 6.5 could happen?
Why?
Because you can't compartmentalize emotions and preparation. If it was just about looking at what I see, it would be much easier. But what I tell you last week, you told me about a line, and I said, or the matchup, and I go, Vegas has already figured out the matchup. It's our job to play the line.
Yeah.
Right? So that's they're letting you now. When it opened at whatever it was, 3.5. I think that's how they felt. They're like, oh, Indiana.
About 3.5.
About 3.5 points better.
Yeah.
Where it is, the hype, undefeated. We've seen Nebraska in this spot before. Historically not very good.
So you're giving Indiana probably 2.5 for home and then another point for Nebraska's history.
The money has moved it some.
Right, because of the public.
So that's where I am with breaking it down when it comes to talking to Avery in a little bit. It's like not necessarily the ATS. Are they who the numbers say they are? And how do I pit this against Nebraska's preparation?
That's Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook. Make sure you get out to the casino here in Omaha every Saturday this month. They're giving away $10,000 to one lucky winner, as well as a bunch of free slot play. Get to warwickcasino.com for details. We'll wrap up the show coming up next.